Okay, guys. The third part of this is the third part. I'm hoping I don't have to split it into 4 or 5 parts, but try to chop through this as on point as possible. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna go over some places I underlined or highlighted, and I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. Stalking generally involves a single stalker who may occasionally recruit others into stalking by proxy, their involvement usually being unwitting. By contrast, reports of group or gang stalking describe stalking by multiple individuals who engage in a shared endeavor with a group purpose. Okay, that just sounds like a synonym to me. All right, like I said before, this says being stalked by individuals is a relatively common experience in the Western world. It says it again on another page. Wow, it must be really popular in the U.S. these days, huh? um, the prevalence in different studies varies according to the definition used, the methodology employed, and the population or subpopulation sampled. But even the most conservative estimates suggest that 8% of women and 2% of men are stalked at some point in their lives. Yada, yada, yada. Where's the important parts? Okay, a U.S. Department of Justice prevalence study, which used a tight definition of stalking that required the victim to experience fear, found that 6.8% reported stalking by 3 or more people and were unable to identify a single offender or could not identify an offender who was singularly responsible. The U.S. study also examined cases where the behavioral part of their definition of stalking was satisfied, but not the fear component. When these cases were added to those defined as stalking, the total figure for those reporting an inability to identify a single offender or offender who was singularly responsible was 12.5%, which is similar to that found in the questionnaire study. Okay, moving on. Let's see. All right, here's an interesting one, guys. A sample of 50 written accounts was considered sufficient to capture the overall essence of participant experiences while also giving the data to have adequate quantifiable merit. Self-published accounts of gang stalking were selected from within websites and web forums on the internet via convenient sampling using Google searches of websites, blogs. which people reporting stalking refer to themselves. More than 20 million hits were revealed in the initial search on these blogs. 50 personal accounts of gang stalking were identified for use in the study by following the first 250 relevant links. All links were investigated, whatever their top personal web pages, dedicated sites, Facebook pages, etc. Only accounts including explicit statements pertaining to personal experiences as a victim of gang stalking, in parentheses, I am being gang stalked, I am a targeted individual, were considered eligible for inclusion in the study. Accounts were required to exceed a minimum length of 250 words to ensure that there was sufficiently detailed material to analyze. Accounts were not included where there were indications that the writer was below the age of 18. Pointless. On material. Two researchers examined each personal account, and cases were only included in the study where there was agreement between the two that they met the above stated inclusion criteria. The first 50 cases to meet the inclusion criteria were adopted. Saturation of information was deemed to be met following analysis of 40 cases. Maybe now we're getting somewhere. This was indicated by no new categories emerging from data where. Okay, that was a pointless skim over that. Okay, guys, trying to hop through this main parts. Okay. Here's a heading that says length of stalking. None of the writers of the narratives describe their experiences as having ended. And this one right here that was observed, none of it ended in their lives. All 50 authors stated or implied that they had been gang stalked for lengthy periods of time. One mentioned being seen by 7 psychologists during the period of being targeted. Another described having been targeted whilst living in 3 different countries. Living in 3 different countries and still having tabs on them. In 3 different countries. That goes to show you, man, them conspiracies, it ain't just in one continent. It ain't just in America, but they other countries do it to their own people. But still, yeah, make a world of difference, guys. If we just stand up and unveil it, you know what I mean? Stand up against it, and I can't think of my words, guys. I'm getting spacey minded here. Expose it, you know what I mean? The more it gets exposed, the more that, they're going to be cornered. They ain't got a choice but to, back off. It says the shortest case was described as having begun in the last few months, and the longest as continuing for more than 22 years. Man, I'll be ready to just, ask God, can I die yet? You know what I mean? Like, seriously, putting up with it for 22 years. Okay, reasons for the gang stalking, and all in this case right here, reasons were found in 20 of the 50 accounts. In all 20 cases, no named person was believed to be targeting the victim. It's hard to, yeah, they'll never show. Representative examples of the reasons given for the gang stalking were as follows. Why? To drive people to meet up groups or a psychiatrist so they can be medicated and or get more federal grants for more mental health instead of training a real police force. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a big seller in the area. That's what it drove me to. Um, I was back and forth, thinking something was going on, thinking somebody's messing with me, coming gaslighting me, knocking on the door. I even had one bad case where somebody acted like they was breaking in, kept banging on the door, wouldn't tell me their name or nothing. My dad's slide door don't at the time didn't lock in his room. It was open. So you have somebody beating and banging on the door. Well, I think somebody's already in the house. That's enough scare tactics right there to set up a conspiracy on targeting somebody's PTSD. That's I don't know what type of crime that would be, but that'd be categorized as I don't know how you would label that, but that's some cruel mind play right there. When you don't know somebody is coming in with a weapon, but they're so desperate to make you look crazy, and then sign a ECO paper on you on the way while this is going on. But I recorded this live up until the cops came. And finally, after about the fourth time somebody knocking, they introduced themselves as the sheriff. I was like, okay, I'll open the door for you. I didn't know who it was. I feel like somebody had broken in. Didn't even say nothing about the slide door being open. I said, I think somebody might be in my dad's room, man. I can't see in the closet, can't see in the bathroom. But somebody's opened that slide. I don't think I said somebody opened the slide door, but just said I feel like somebody may be in there, but I'm not sure. I said I got scared. Somebody's beating and banging on the door and introduces herself. I said I feel like somebody might be in my dad's room. I left a warning. You can imagine how, but my PTSD kicked in. Okay, had a loaded crossbow, had the 22 just in case. Set the 22 aside. I kept warning the person, I'm like, there's somebody in the closet, man. And there was a female's bra or bikini on my dad's bed that somebody had left in there. My dad was gone. I'm like, where'd this come from? Somebody had to have time to get in here. So if somebody's in here, there's a chance that somebody's in here to harm me. You know what I mean? So while I'm sitting here trying to guard two different views, don't know if somebody's in the closet yet. Don't know if somebody's around the corner in the bathroom. May have a gun, may have a knife. And then somebody's beating and banging on the door. You're going to start getting frantic. Your heart's going to start panting. And, I take ADD medication. You take it one a day or two a day is prescribed or whatever. But that doesn't matter. If you lack sleep from harassers being around and making you think that somebody's here to harm you, you don't know who's outside. Somebody's knocking on the side of your house or whatever. People stalking you. They want to make you think. They want you to be scared or whatever. Keep you like in a corner, so to speak. But I have been awake for one day because my harassers kept me up that night. I was running on fumes through the next day, um, seeing splotches out the corner of my eye. I didn't know if somebody was going to come around the corner. His, dad left. He was mad at me, and for some reason, while he was gone, people were gaslighting me, sabotage, gaslighting me. Wouldn't show themselves, wouldn't say anything. Didn't know if somebody was just standing outside waiting at the open slide door, but the cop went in there. He said there ain't nobody in here, but I had discharged a arrow into the closet door because I thought I couldn't tell, but by glancing, it looked like somebody was hunkered down like into the corner behind. There was a space big enough for possibly two people to be right up next to each other, and I figured surely there was somebody in there, and I thought with the stage traffic going on, all this hit my mind, my PTSD kicked in. So I was just like, I'm giving you a chance. I'm going to go to this end of the house and check, and then I'm going to this end of the house to check. So if you want to take anything, go ahead and take some things real quick and get out. Just get out, and if you got somebody with you, leave her and just let her be and get out of here. Nobody made any movement or nothing, so I discharged an arrow into the closet door because I wasn't sure. I was going to let them know that I wasn't playing. If I had to peek around the corner and I seen somebody where they had a gun in their hand at the time or not, that was thump. Thump or bang. I'm sorry, you shouldn't be playing dumb like that. I'm not the type. I will. You pull my trigger, I'm pulling that trigger, where it be a crossbow or a gun. So anybody listening right now, they better keep that in mind, because I got my gun rights taken away over that situation, the way it looked, and lo and behold, the cop lied on me, said I answered the door with a gun. I had the door barricaded just in case, but I moved. I dropped what I had in my hand to remove the barricade and to open the doorknob with my hand, but I answered the door with a gun. No. After the after the sheriff said it was the sheriff, it was the police, but I answered the door with a gun. Had a special ops edition pellet rifle sitting in my room. Said I had a loaded SKS with a silencer on it. You see how all this sounds like some big setup in a way? If it wasn't a setup, then why'd you make me sound crazier than when I already needed help, proving that this was a setup situation? You be the judge, whoever's listening. This is examples of what I've been through, okay, guys? I'm sure you got your examples. By all means, I was sitting, listening to it. You know what I mean? I compare with you, but um, okay. Where I left off at, post-traumatic stress disorder is a big seller in the area. Uh, it is a brainwashing military experiment. Post 9/11, they isolate certain people to stop them acting against the government. All right, now we're getting somewhere. It is part of an overt agenda to create and test mind control. They are creating weaponry tested on us. I began driving a friend around to make, this is an example of a story, to make his pot sales. This is what the story says. To make his pot sales, and I started noticing we would get tailed from time to time. I've had that happen to me in Washington, D.C. Yeah, sounds about right? I knew this friend had connects in weird places. He knows members of Anonymous. He knows people who work at the Pentagon. I also did a lot of research and was very vocal about being anti government and anti corporation. This is what got me targeted. If you are vocal about your positions, then you will eventually run across a civilian spy who will pass the information to their superiors. Top of the pyramid sends it down the line. It sends the word, uh, sends the action to other people so they don't have to deal with it. They stay behind the scenes, let other people do the dirty work for them to get paid for it. Who will to their superiors, who will continue to pass the information up the chain of command, the pyramid. Once you're on their list, your life can become a living hell. That's what it says. Okay. After they put to see. Okay, it's talking about implants again. I don't know nothing about that. It sounds too crazy for me, but I'm not saying it's impossible. Because I refused to join their devil cult and become an operative, I became a victim. My invitation to join came at an early stage via voice to skull. Uh, I wrote a little side thing. It's a real method they use in gang stalking to make a victim think they are schizophrenic and force them to seek mental help. Just a little side reference. Um, okay, 24 categories of experience were identified in the 50 accounts of self-identified victims of gang stalking. These are set out in Table 1, together with the proportions describing them, given that the purpose of the study was to elucidate the phenomena constituting subjects' experiences of being gang stalked. Each category is illustrated in the table using descriptions from the case accounts. Spelling errors in the accounts have been created to aid. The most frequently experienced categories concern being physically followed and or surveyed, almost 100%, 94%. True stories. Were of them were being the cases were being physically followed and or surveyed under surveillance, 94%, or being the target of a conspiracy, 80%. That's 20% away from 100% of the cases. 80% were out of conspiracy. 2/3 claimed that they were subject to physical interference, intimidation, and harassment. Okay. We're gonna pause this real quick, guys. Hey guys, I'm back. Had to put on pause real quick. Take a quick break. Okay. So on this table 1 says content analysis of self-defined gang stalking victims' accounts according to their subjective experiences. The categories arrived at fall into 6 distinct groups. Those that involve an invasive attack on the subject's body, being remotely controlled / mind control, physical ailments as a directed result of gang stalking, voice to skull transmission, and control and surveillance devices, implanted into body. Like I said, I don't know about that area. I don't know about all that. That's too deep for me. Uh, just an example of capable practices, but this is those involving an exterior attack on the person of the subject or their senses. It gets deep, guys. Using science and technology to torment people. Uh, Physical interference, intimidation, and harassment targeted by noise, um, and physical attacks. Physical interference with the individual's personal environment or possessions. Yeah, that's another thing too. It's another tactic. Um, uh, One of your harassers can be somebody in your own home. Uh, you turn back for 1 minute, go to the bathroom, set your wallet down. Somebody over and over again takes one of your items from one room to another, and you're sitting there about to go crazy because you're so fed up. You don't know if it was yourself or your harasser. Stresses you out. That's what the tactic is for, to stress somebody out. It's uh, it's petty, man. It's petty. The little tactics that they use. Little by little, it drives somebody crazy. Um, Physical interference with the individual's personal environment or possessions, physical surveillance, being followed, electronic surveillance, subject to electronic hacking, subject to clandestine, I don't know what that means, unauthorized entry to home. There it is. That was a form of it. And I'm not, just a little bit ago, was telling you the story about, felt like intruders already had access, that he was coming in to harm me, and I didn't know the difference if it was just sabotage, gaslighting to make me think something, or if they really went that far. Remember, there are gang stalkers that go as far as harming someone. They'll jump you, you know what I'm saying? They'll lay wait and jump you or kill you. You don't never know what the depth of organization they're from. Could be somebody, you could run across a big name in the Illuminati circle, and you have a bunch of amateur gang stalkers that were recruited, and they were lied to and told, "Oh, nothing's going to happen to this person. We're not going to do anything serious." The next thing you know, you pull out the gun, pop. Uh, Next thing you know, I mean, I'm just using an example, but anyways, it's never worth it. Just know that it's never worth it to do that to someone. Um, okay, unauthorized entry to home, vandalism. Like my car got shot up with rubber bullets or pellets. Up one side one night, turned the vehicle around, thought surely they won't do it on us. Yeah, they did. Two different nights, shot up both sides of my vehicle with like 4 or 5 dents on each side. Um, Cops came. It looks like all dents. That was it. Didn't do nothing about it. They probably knew who did it. They probably knew what was going on, but can't help you. That's it. Vandalism, theft of property, and family and friends also targeted. Assault on reputation, targeted by slander, gossip, individuals or agencies involved in perpetrating or collaborating with the gang stalking. This is my favorite chunk right here, guys. This is real deal. This is where it can get to, where the connects can come from. Okay, not just these high organizations, um, It's how cults or whatever. Police as part of the conspiracy, which there has been police within these three counties that are border each other in the area that I live in. Yes, there is police that know that it's going on. And there's police that will cover up for the buddies too, the gang stalking buddies. Popo, it's pigs. It's a badge. It's not a police officer. It's a badge. Neighbors as part of the conspiracy, usually family/friends as part of the conspiracy. Yes, your loved ones. Yes, it is. It really does go on. It really does. Yeah. Especially if you're not acting in a way that they need you to act, or they want you to act, or they think that they have an open door for control over you, and you're not you're not going along with them. They play silent and dumb, and then next thing you know, look what happened to me. I was lied on paper. It said that I was hearing voices. No, it wasn't. It never said I was hearing voices. No. It said that day that I got physical with my dad. No, it didn't. He wasn't there for me to get physical with him. But put that on paper, and while I was freaking out, being sabotaged, and thinking that people were slowly creeping in on me, multiple people coming into the house, made to think that, had an ECO paper on the way to top it off. Didn't even know I was going to be forced to get help before. They didn't even know, which I think they did. Something tells me that they probably did for some reason. Like, surely they knew it was a setup the way it played out. But anyways, family friends is part of the conspiracy. Producing evidence of gang stalking fails to persuade authorities to intervene. Producing evidence of gang stalking. You got the evidence to prove that something deep is going on. You got the evidence that is a start of your problems, and something's really going on, and you're not crazy. It's really happening. You're being set up. There's a conspiracy. Producing evidence of gang stalking fails to persuade authorities to intervene. You're not a police officer, just a badge at that point. And medical practitioners as part of the conspiracy. It happens. It really does. Items concerning interpretation of the meaning of gangster. And this continues. Victim of a conspiracy by multiple agencies. It can be multiple agencies that have your name on their crap list, and they just want you to either die or just suffer and be miserable and stay out of their way for some reason. But being targeted by multiple different agencies. Establishment cover-up, I don't know what that is. Victimized as part of a global phenomenon, I don't know what that is. Reinterpretation of past events in the light of the gang stalking experiences, and complained they didn't know why they were being stalked. Okay. Of the authors, 14% described experiences from 15 to 20 categories, with 6% of the population describing experiences from within 20 categories. 27 described experiences from 11 to 15 categories. 30% described experiences from 6 to 10 of the categories. 26% said they experienced between 2 and 5 of the categories. Okay. Here we go. Sequelae of gang stalking, like through a sequel of events. The most commonly observed category of the reported effects of gang stalking on individuals was psychological damage. 42% psychological damage, man. 42%. It's almost half percent had psychological damage. Followed by isolation and loneliness, 34%. Yeah, it happens. It's very likely, depending on how worn down you are. And a determination to fight back, 32%. Um, was so only 32% of that whole group decided to fight back. Yeah, that's not even what a little bit over a fourth. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Content analysis of self-defined gang stalking victims' accounts of the sequel of their experiences. Okay, it's getting past 30 minutes again, guys. Um, Again, psychological damage, isolation, loneliness, resentment, distress at being treated as crazy or paranoid. Yeah, that's stressful. Physical ailments as a result of stress caused by gang stalking and feelings of hopelessness. Um, Practical effects, losses, changed lifestyle, financial losses, efforts to escape from gang stalkers, fighting back, determination to fight back, found support from other gang stalking victims through the internet and development of hatred, violent tendencies. Only 14% of authors of the narratives did not mention any sequel. The largest proportion, 66%, scored positive for experiences of 1 to 5 categories. The remaining 20% endorsed 9 or 10 categories. None endorsed all 11. There were no significant differences between the proportions of self-defined gang stalking victims reporting phenomena in 66% of the 24 gang stalking experience categories. Significant differences in 8 items all concerned greater proportions of particular phenomena being experienced by cases from the current study sample. Okay, that's pointless. Let's read that. Venice victim of a conspiracy by multiple agencies, establishment cover up. Okay. Table 3. Comparisons between content analysis of internet and questionnaire samples on blah 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 experience. Okay. Okay, guys, on like the 16th page, might as well skim it up, wrap it up. repeating a certain part, but this discussion part says, given that the available evidence suggests that 12% of stalking reports involve gang stalking, and that at a conservative estimate, 8% of women and 2% of men report being stalked at some point in their lives, it would appear that the subjective experience of being gang stalked could affect around 0.66% of adult women and 0.17% of adult men in the Western world. Again, the Western world. At some point in their lives, it might be assumed that something that affects the lives of so many people, would have been the subject of extensive research. However, this is not the case. Um, Examination of the sequel of Being Gangstarred also produced similar categories to the study. This is like a college study or something, supporting the conclusion that the two studies were examining similar phenomena. The earlier study comprised a more detailed and substantial effects being gang stalked, given that it used a battery of specific questions as well as a PTSD rating scale to explore experiences, whereas this was a weaker methodology in terms of this. Um, we can either Okay, this study right here, it says of respondents, 32% described experiences falling into the category of determined to fight back. That's 32% right here. While 16% made statements that fell into the category of like development of hatred slash violent tendencies. Examples include we can either go out on our feet or our knees, and I plan to sell myself for as high a price as I can reap from them. Man, some people it drives them, they lose it. I may have to kill them before they kill me. And I think the only way forward is to get some weapons and act. This is what it does to people. This right here, this is what I'm talking about. This is what it does to people to higher extents. Violence in those who have complained of gang stalking is not unknown. Okay, it talks about here later on down in this story the violence perpetrated. Uh, People in Ninja need for intervention to prevent violent responses, and notes that the men whose cases were detailed in her study had engaged in significant efforts to make others aware of their perceived victimization. These efforts taking the form of manifestos, videos, and audio recordings and social media posts. The violence perpetrated by these men was motivated by self-defense in the form of a preemptive strike and a need to alert the world at large to the dangers posed by gang stalking. I don't know about. However, it is Of note that the experiences grouped above under invasive attack on the subject's body constitute examples of threat control override symptoms which have been linked with an increased risk of violence. It is also noted that the experiences in quotes above would satisfy criteria for the red flag violence risk items of homicidal ideation and high risk phenomena in the stalking and threat risk assessment guides, the stalking risk profile, and the communications threat assessment protocol. Um, Conclusions: the experience of being gang stalked appears to be a widespread phenomenon that has been subject to little scientific examination. The current study provides a preliminary description of the phenomenon involved that was produced by a methodology that did not incorporate preconceived assumptions. This provides a foundation upon which further research could. It also serves to confirm the harmful effects of the gang stalking experience upon sufferers first set out in the only other study available. These findings constitute a potent reason why gang stalking should be regarded as an important subject for study. Um, this is because higher proportions are likely to be elicited through direct questioning than were found by studying internet descriptions. Finally, whilst this study has described the core phenomena of the gang stalking experience, the question remains as to whether gang stalking is a single phenomenon or represents several overlapping phenomena, each with its own defining pattern of experiences. I say the second one from personal experience. Um, okay, I know you guys are like, finally, if you made it this far, it's over with, yeah. But it's really important to me, guys. Man, about an hour into it. Sorry, guys. Sorry it lasted so long, but God bless you if you listen to all this, guys. It is for great purpose, great reason. If you cannot tell how big of a deal it is, how big of a problem it has become, how popular the method is to conspire on someone's life, the sneaky way and the hard to get in trouble way. Um, Gotta have the right sources. You know, look it up. Look up gang stalking. If you're a target, there are sources that will help you outside of what you're going through. Okay, just gotta research them. Look them up. Go to the forums. Look up the gang stalking and all the ways it can affect somebody. All the forms of the gang stalking and it'll it'll show you references on there, links that you can go to, and eventually it'll lead to a number or address you can write and state your claim. Maybe even get an investigation if you're blessed enough to. God willing, I hope that more people do. I really do. Let's stand up for these people, guys. Let's stand up for ourselves. Let's stand up for these people, help these people. Um, uh, let's unmask what's really going on. Let's can't think of my words. Anyways, I'm wrapping it up. I was just going to say, let's expose it. You know what I'm saying? Expose as much as possible outnumber them instead of them outnumbering you. If you're a TI, a targeted individual, you going through the hell without the flame, lower, higher levels, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where I'm coming from, and the sincerity behind why I did this and reviewed this again on YouTube, not only on my local Facebook live, but you know, just trying to reach out, guys. Um, trying to love everybody, even my enemies. We gotta pray for our enemies. Let's not forget, guys. I even say that myself. I need to do that as well. Um, so with that being said, I hope you guys can feel it from my heart to yours. I wish all much peace, love, and many prayers in Jesus' name. And one more thing, for those people, if you don't understand them, at least give them a chance to explain themselves. And don't just act like somebody that's going through something that they feel like is ongoing and can't stop. Take a little bit to listen to them. Take some time out of your day to listen to them. You might be the only person that listens to them, and they might be on the edge. You know, be there for that person. Even if you have to say a few words and walk off, at least you made an effort to let them know that, you know, you show concern what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? So be patient with people like that. You never know what somebody's really going through, the depths of it, but you kind of got an idea hearing all of the different things and ways that these people are tortured. If you're not targeted, it's two totally different worlds compared to the one that is being targeted. All right, but guys, calling it a night. Love all y'all. God bless y'all.